This is Love, Sex, Food with Jigs and Prema.
Hi, welcome to this episode of Love, Sex, Food, another one from Goa, where we're based at the moment. And today we felt like it was time to talk about food. There's been a lot of love, a little bit of sex, but everybody loves food. And we're inspired because we're going to be hosting our very first Love, Sex, Food supper club and the most beautiful, intimate location. Almost like a restaurant that feels like a theatre in the next few weeks. So we thought we would talk today about the question, is food a love language?
Yes.
The end. Okay, well, that was it today for Love, Sex, Food. Thanks for joining in. I mean, I know that's what you think, but can we go a little bit deeper into it? Tell me about it. Why is Love, Sex, Food? Why is food a love language for you, Jigs?
I think, where do I start? I think for me, food became a love language because of my mother, first and foremost. I think food is such a connector in our family and in our culture, especially in the Indian culture. When I don't think anyone's ever come to my house and not walked away without having digested something, because that's just my
something. You mean
some meal.
5 courses?
Yeah,
something
it's just
magically delicious.
It's just how I was raised, and I think inherently that's just my standard and that's my norm. I think when I look at, if anyone were to be coming to my house, I would anticipate that they'd be eating, regardless of what time that they'd be coming. I think food's it's an intimate way, but also a real generous way of showing someone love and care and respect, but also the act of nourishment is also beautiful. And one of the reasons why I fell in love with food from a very, very young age was because of ultimately how it made me feel. I was never someone that could just eat food for the sake of eating food. I've never been that person that can just say, right, it's breakfast. Let's just do the same traditional food. Like every morning I wake up and think, what do I fancy for breakfast? And there are times where I might not have what I want in my fridge, but if I fancy it that much, I'll go and get it. And that's the same for lunch and it's the same for dinner. So therefore, I would value flavor and experience over generally what I should be eating for my own health. And that would probably explain why I've always been on the kind of larger side of life. But I wouldn't give that up because it just makes me so happy. And in return, when I cook for others, it gives me so much joy to see the expression on people's faces and how I can bring joy to their life. So yeah, food is a massive love language for me.
You know what's really interesting? Because obviously I'm not come from an Indian culture where food is love. It is.
In this lifetime, you haven't, but
okay.
Yeah.
In this lifetime. But, my relationship with food was very different because my mum was working. And so she was a bit of a freezer mum. No offense, mum. But, she didn't provide a lot of home cooking. So for me, food was about like eating. And actually, because my mum was pretty busy, we used to eat the same thing pretty much every day, every week for the most of my childhood. Whereas when I'm at your house, it's like, try this. Your mum's always on TikTok looking at new recipes. Like it is her absolute passion. Even though at the moment she's poorly, she's having her chemotherapy, she's still in the kitchen doing it every day because she loves it. And it's her way of expressing love. And I completely feel it. At any moment when you sit down, the question, the Patel family question is, have you eaten are you hungry? And it's always a bit of a joke between Jigs and I, because it's just standard.
Also, the chances are when we're flying back to the UK 2 days before, my mum's going to ask you, what do you want to eat when you get home? Like, that's the thing, is that we'll not have even completed breakfast yet. And the conversation already goes to, what should we make for dinner? Yeah, it's really interesting because culturally, it's just the norm. But when other people experience it, it's very different because they're like, wow, like you guys, like the amount of fridges we have in our house is ridiculous. We've got one big American fridge freezer. We've got a little small fridge. We've got massive another freezer. We've got another fridge freezer in the back. It's just like, God, if there was a power cut, we'd be eating for like weeks.
We'd have to invite the whole of Greenford round, basically, to help us out. But the other thing I've really noticed is that nobody ever goes without in your house the way your mum, your mum's hospitality extends to everybody and anybody, regardless of the reason that you happen to be there. And I joke about Patel food economics, which is the extremely
disproportional
art of over ordering absolutely everything and then having to store it in Tupperware containers. And so when you open the fridges, and literally, well, sorry, not the fridge, the fridges, it's exploding. But I love it. I really love it. I mean, I have actually also put on like 5 kg since we've been together. This is definitely the most voluptuous I have ever been in my life. But for the same things, what you're saying is that the pleasure of, it's not just eating the food. I'd say in your house, the way that your mum cooks, it's the pleasure of receiving the amount of love and time and care. Like, I've seen Jigs' mum making food. She goes to Ealing Road, she chooses the ingredients, she picks up every single thing that she's going to put into the dish. She feels it, she smells it, she looks at it. Like, that's where it starts, that level of care and detail, even before she got back into the kitchen. Then everything is dried and washed and handpicked. And, like when we were doing all of the garlic, preparing all that garlic, and Jigs's mum and I just stood there, just peeling and shelling garlic and then crushing it, and we just did this huge like mountain of garlic. Never seen so much in all my life. But that's, it's all done by hand. So,
but you know what all that is? That's love. Like,
exactly, that's what I'm saying.
That's what makes the difference, right? When people say to me, why does your butter chicken taste so good? It's because every touch point is done with love. And by that, I mean, you need to spend time in order to go through the various processes, right? So when you, let's say, saute the onions, you need to get them a certain way. Then you add certain spices in at certain times. Then you add different spices in. What tends to happen with generalized cooking is you just put everything in at once.
Yeah.
And everything cooks at different times. Yeah. Everything cooks at different temperatures. So therefore, you can't layer a dish if you put everything at once. So in order to layer a dish to make it more flavorsome and ultimately give it more depth, you need to add things in at different times, which means that you need to spend time doing it. And the only reason why you do it is because you love doing it. And that's ultimately where, you can taste the difference just between someone who loves cooking and someone who does it for the sake of doing it.
Yeah.
And I think this is where, once again, love is definitely a food. Love.
Food is definitely a love language. Yeah. I mean, I agree. My palate has also very much changed since I've been with you. So I've always loved food, but never had a deep appreciation in the way that I have since we've been together. For example, I love chai, and you can get it in England from Starbucks or other like commercial coffee places, but that's just the syrup and milk on the top. Then you come to India and there's just such a diversity of different types of chai, and I love it, all the different little shops and like stand owners and everything. But your mum's chai is completely different. It's like you drink it and you just start to taste, as you said, the first flavor, then the next one, then the next one, then it's spicy, then it's a bit sweet, then there's the cardamom, then there's clove. It's unbelievable. And I have that every morning, and it kind of wakens up my palate and my senses, so that whenever I eat something that doesn't actually have any layering of depth, to me now, that isn't actually food. I don't even see that as food. I see that as, maybe it's food, but it's not a meal. You know, it's not a sensory experience. It's not pleasure based. It's more functional, and that's what living with you, eating your food, being in your eating your mum's food's actually done for me. It's awakens my taste sensation. And sometimes we joke like, oh yeah, you just bang a load of chili on top of whatever you're doing and then it tastes better. But that isn't true. Like what you do with black pepper, for example, is a very sexy thing.
That, I mean, that is one of the most underrated quick fixes ever. It's not salt, it's pepper.
Mm,
Cracked black pepper on most things savory makes a huge difference. And seasoning, yeah, it's just a massive part of it. It's not always just adding green chili to things and
yeah,
ultimately adding hot sauce to things,
yeah,
but it is really leaning into it. And the food out in Goa has been nothing short of exceptional. I mean, God damn it, like when we walked along the beach the first night, and all the restaurants are kind of like shacks on the beach, and then they turn the whole beach into their restaurant. It's stunning, and everyone has like fresh fish that's all on display in ice, and my eyes were bigger than my stomach. And do you remember the first meal that we
yeah.
had? Goan we got Goan chili squid that was kind of barbecued. Then we got kingfish in tandoori, and then we got
What about those prawns?
oh my God, these massive jumbo prawns. It was just heaven. It was, and since then we've been here for 2 weeks. I'm eating there already 3 times because it was that bloody good. And here's the thing: is that like I've always said, and I write about this in kind of my book, is that the irony is that when you go out or when you go to eat, the last sense you actually engage is taste. You engage the other 4 senses prior to actually the reason why you go out. And I think one of the reasons why food is a love language is because in order for you to have the most exceptional meal, you have to engage every other sense and ultimately take it to that level.
I
S-
agree. I
So,
totally agree. I mean, I'm very much previously been style over substance. So, I mean, I love the beach in Goa, Patnam Beach, because, like you said, it turns into what seems like hundreds of tables with little tiny lights in little hurricane lamps that are just kind of flickering and glowing. And I'm in already as soon as I see that. But then when you have the freshness, and what I've really appreciated here is the way that things are cooked, like in the oven, the tandoori
yeah.
oven, on the barbecue. And like it's the simplicity of the food is not fancy. The ingredients are maybe few, really. And yeah, the way that it's cooked and the way that you can see how the food has actually come to your table. Like the fishing boats go out in the morning, they come back in the evening. That's the fish that's there fresh. It's
But that's all part of the story. That's all part of the love story of the food, because you can see that men have got out on a fishing boat. That's fresh. It's come back. It's on ice. It's all theatre. And then they've got the tandoor ovens outside and with the skewers and stuff. So it all just plays into, you've already visualized what it's going to taste like. And then when it comes, you're like, Mamma mia,
yeah.
it's gorgeous.
And because you're on the beach, that close to
Yeah.
the source of where the food's come from. If you think about that experience, opposed to even if you go to an incredible, restaurant in London, the amount of stages that have had to happen to get your food onto that plate, if you're in central London, no matter how, you know, incredible the chef is, there is a disconnect from where that food's actually come from. Whereas on the beach, I don't know, it's just all part of it. I mean, the other thing as well that I think is I also love the atmosphere. So eating outside is a huge thing for me, and I know it is for you. Your dream is to have an outside kitchen, isn't it?
Always, yeah. To be in a country where we spend a majority of our time in our garden or our deck or whatever it is, and there's an outdoor kitchen, there's an outdoor grill, there's a clay oven, and we just host our friends and our family outside. That's it.
Yeah. And part of the journey of food as well, I think, is service. And what's really interesting is that very first message you sent me when we connected on Inner Circle. I don't know, within like 3 messages, you were like, "Hey, I want to open my own retreat," or can't exactly remember, like restaurant stroke, hotel. I can't remember exactly what you said, but I want it to be called Seva, which means service. And I said, "Oh, and if you do the food, I can do the wellness." Yeah. Actually, that looks like it's going to be maybe coming true now we're out in Goa, which would be another 360, of course. But that Seva is something that I've known about for a long time through my understanding of yoga philosophy, the importance of being of service in all ways. And one of the easiest ways to do that is to feed people, to nurture people through their stomachs. And that's often like the work of like Mother Teresa. She always made sure that there was never anyone that would go hungry, like no mouth was ever turned away. And it comes down to, just with my little geeky early years, how the first way that we experience love as human beings is through being fed by our mothers, from our mother's body. We were talking about this the other day, that the milk that we produce as women is that first food of nourishment. It is absolutely optimized for baby's health and development. But what's even more important with that, if you choose to breastfeed, not everyone can, is the experience of having that food given to you, being fed, the warmth, like being that close to your mother, like hearing your mother's heartbeat, the smell of your mother, the warmth, just everything is like being wrapped up in a cocoon of love. So our first experiences of food are to get that from the source, which is your mum, and to be held in a bubble of love whilst you're getting it. So I think when you get that service, same sort of thing, when you feel like you're in a beautiful environment that is warm and hospitable, and you're seen and you're heard, and the service is amazing and attentive, it just adds so much for me. So that's why food becomes even more of a love language for me. It's not just the pleasure of the taste, it's actually also how it's delivered and prepared.
So my question to you is this: out of the 5 official love languages, which one would you replace with food?
This is very hard because I love this. I love talking about the 5 love languages. So if you don't know what they are, I can't remember the author. I'm very naughty because I should do. I talk about this all of the time. It's Dr. Gary Chapman. So he talks about the 5 love languages, which are words of affirmation, quality time, receiving gifts, acts of service, and physical touch. And that all of us have a preference. We can have all of them, but there's one which maybe takes the lead. And when you're in a relationship, it's really important to ask this question to your partner so that you can understand how that person wants to receive love, because not everybody receives love in the same way. And it's a bit of a make or break one. If you don't understand your partner's love language, you could be, for example, giving loads of acts of service and actually they love gifts. So it's a really, really important question to kind of contemplate. So check out that Dr. Gary Chapman. But in terms of today, this is really hard because I love all of these, obviously. The one I would not give up, even for your butter chicken or your the butter paneer that I have, rather, is touch. I could definitely, no way, not in a million years. Gifts, definitely giving up gifts. Words of affirmation, I love. That's also one that I give all the time. Acts of service, I just love that as well. And time is just the most precious thing ever. To be rich in time means that you'll always feel infinitely abundant. So it would be gifts. That's an easy swap out.
Yeah, I would agree. To be honest, I thought it would have been harder to replace, but I think the way that you broke it down, definitely gifts, because all the others are really, really important. So food can easily kind of just replace gifts.
I suppose food, in a way, though, is a little bit like you're getting a gift because it's presented to you and, you know, it's wrapped up all nice, and it does feel like something special. Like when you cook for me, I really appreciate it. I really, really do. Because as I said, in my upbringing, my mum didn't really cook. When in my previous marriage, my ex-husband, he maybe cooked for me maybe 6 or 7 times, and he wasn't really into anything culinary at all. He was a bit more of a recipe follower. I obviously cook for myself, cook for my kids. I was a big HelloFresh junkie in COVID times because I love not eating the same thing every day. I get very bored of anything that is repetitive. So with my food, it always had to be different. But the way that you prepare food for me, I absolutely love it. It's very sexy. And the other thing that I love doing with you is co-creating food together. So, you know, we just go get our food, get our ingredients, go in the kitchen, say, oh, should we try this? Should we try that? You know, I'm thinking of the time that we just put that purple sprouting broccoli in that oven roasting dish, like covered it in olive oil with truffle olive oil, salt and pepper. And we just, I don't know, we just put it in the oven, got it out, and just fed each other from the pan with it. And even though it was broccoli, it was not broccoli. It became something completely different.
You know, but I think that's not like we use our hands a lot. I think the other part of love, keep on getting it wrong. The other part of food being a love language is the sensuality of using your hands and also feeding each other. Now, I probably feed you a fair amount wherever I can. I think it's
fair amount.
Yeah, I mean,
but the whole time, especially now we're here in Go. I mean, we do it in London, even if we're in restaurants. But definitely actually, I'm going to just say something that really means a lot to me. And ladies, if you're listening, this is for me an act of love related to food. So whenever you have your food, the first thing you do is you get it ready and then you feed me first from your plate. And I really noticed that, you know, you don't even try it yourself. You straight away put my needs to be fed first. And that is very sexy.
It's only because I wanted to make sure it's cooked properly.
Is it like that medieval thing, you know, like food tasting, give it to her first. If she keels over, then you know it's bad.
I'm still a caveman.
No, but it's very small, it's very subtle, but it really conveys the fact that, you know, I want you to eat first. Now, what's really interesting about that as well is that in Indian culture, generally, when I've been in like family celebrations, it's always the men who eat first on their own, the women wait. And then when the men have finished, the women clear up and then they all eat together. So it's actually, because I've seen the way your culture is, for you to directly challenge that and put me first. It is very sexy and I really appreciate it. Thank you.
I mean, it is like, just kind of on that note, is that culturally men do things first and women do things second. Now, that's the culture. I don't have to agree or disagree. I choose to take what I feel is relevant to me from my culture. And what's been interesting out here in Goa is when we've been going out, even though you booked the boat trip for our anniversary dinner,
Food safari, yeah.
our food safari, the owner of the boat was talking to me, even though you booked it, he'd been dealing with you. But soon as a masculine figure comes in, they don't talk to women; they just talk straight to men, even at the dentist. I mean, it's really interesting. So I think, I think just going back to food as a love language, there are so many simple things that you can do that can enhance relationship, and we eat a lot of food generally. I mean, it's a huge part of our lives.
We go to the gym to eat food.
Yeah, we don't go to the gym to get fit. We go to the gym
to increase our calorie intake every day.
It's, anyone at our gym listening, I think we were very honest and transparent about that at the beginning.
Our goals at the gym is to eat more food.
Yeah, so burn as many calories as you can. But yeah, just I mean, I think this perfectly sets us up to our first supper club, and we're really excited because we are literally taking a bunch of random people we don't know who want to experience something very unique in Goa, and kind of have some really juicy conversations around a dinner table, and be surprised by the culinary journey that this owner of this beautiful shack is going to create for us. And it's kind of tucked away in the jungle. And I don't want to share any more details because we will kind of just record this and it will be on our channels. But it's kind of really fitting because everyone's got to eat at some point and everyone's used to that. But if we can enhance every part of the journey, we're hoping that that whole food experience will literally be a lovable journey.
And I want to just share something that I heard through the reliable source of Instagram. So obviously take it with a pinch of salt, but I saw something there that said that research shows that the biggest amount of dopamine that is ever released is through either sex or eating food. And if you think about your mouth, it's just full of pleasure, sensory receptors, isn't it? That's why I love kissing. You're a great kisser, and I love kissing you as well because you're using your mouth there. It's just everything to do with the senses. I think comes from wherever you find the most receptors, and that is, in your skin, in your hands, on your feet, and in your mouth. So that's why lovesick food is powerful, I think, because when you're eating food, you're already creating a little bit of a dopamine flow. And then on top of dopamine, when you're with other people and you're connecting and you're sharing and you're eye gazing and you're talking, you're getting oxytocin. So you're getting the two hormones that human beings absolutely love: dopamine for the pleasure and the highs, and oxytocin for the bonding and the love and the community and the sense of feeling safe. It actually relaxes the whole of your body. So that's why at the Lovesick Food Supper Club is both about pleasure and it's also about connection. And that's where the sex part comes into Lovesick Food, really, because it is about intimacy and authenticity and truth, and kind of dropping the mask, whatever kind of persona you're projecting, and really getting to know people. And even last Saturday when we went out just ad hoc with a couple of friends here, we found ourselves over again, delicious meal, having really good fun over the menu, talking about food, like what would be our last meal, what foods we love, food stories. And then from that, naturally, other questions started to come up, didn't they, about relationships, dating, sex, this, that, and the other, because we'd just set that flow. And I think that's the thing, is that there aren't enough containers out there where you get to really drop in. And food is a great leveler, isn't it? It's a great conversation starter. It's a communal activity.
Yeah, because everyone has an opinion, regardless of where it is. Everyone has an opinion about food.
Yeah.
So it's always a really good base to start. And once you start that, it can very easily
open up other conversations, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so we are going to stop this podcast now because we're actually eating in our breakfast in a little cafe, and it's getting a bit busy. So we're going to carry on with our food, but we'll leave you in this episode. Don't forget to check us out, what we're up to in Goa on our social. You can see all the pictures, the videos, the reels that we're creating, some of the restaurants we're visiting, and we will be recording some footage from the Love Sex Food Supper Club. So that's Love Sex Food on Insta. But otherwise, like and subscribe to the podcast. We'll have lots of new episodes coming up soon.
So until next time,
See you soon.
and enjoy that bloody food.